I lost track. Was oh okay. Hi. This is my voice. Ignore how bad it is. Anyways, this is an apology for favorite Okay, stutter. Anyways, this is an apology for favorite mistake because you know, even though I've already written two other fluff videos for that ship, I'm not sure why. Anyways, I wanted to write another as an apology, even though I'm not sorry. This is an apology. And so here it is. It's nice. It's fluffy. There's no angst. Nothing goes wrong. No one is sad. So I hope you enjoy. Yeah.
Where are you? Impatient, Omi. We have the whole weekend. Your train was supposed to be here already. I'm only 5 minutes late. Sorry. No, I'm really excited to see you too, OMG. It's been too long. I really wish I could see you more. Yeah, me too. Enough with the sappy nonsense, my train just pulled in. Where are you? I'm looking at you right now. You're spinning around like an idiot. Stop being a creep and show yourself. You look crazy. Do I look cute though? You look cute. You're wearing my sweatshirt, planning to return it, I hope. You are actually going to have to kill me for it, also it looks better on me. All your clothes do. I packed lightly so I have space in my suitcase for your clothes. You're diabolical. I know. Sakusa's eyes were still glued to the back of Atsumu's head as he turned around and saw Sakusa. A spark of recognition passed through his features as he barreled towards Sakusa full speed, nearly tripping over his own suitcase. Sakusa hardly had time to brace himself for impact before Atsumu practically jumped into his arms, pulling his mask down and landing a kiss that mostly misses Sakusa's mouth. I missed seeing this grumpy face in person. Atsumu pushed his thumb against the wrinkles forming between Sakusa's eyebrows and sighed. So handsome, Omi-kun. Sakusa flushed, and felt the all-too-familiar lurch of his stomach as he looked his boyfriend. Recently he would have moments when he looked at Atsumu and would feel the sudden urge to let out 3 words. He had almost let it slip out at the end of several FaceTime calls, and it was sort of eating him alive. Did you sleep at all on the train, or last night? Atsumu shook his head, handing Sakusa his suitcase as they started walking out of the train station. Too excited. First order of business is you taking a nap. And wasting our precious time? Sleeping is the last thing I wanna do. Atsumu grabbed Sakusa's hand and rambled the rest of the way, gawking at the city like he'd never been to Tokyo before. And the urge to say it came back. The 3 words were banging against the backs of Sakusa's teeth, trying to claw their way out. He pushed them back like he always did, and when they got back to Sakusa's place, Atsumu's exhaustion was obvious. Are you hungry? I could order pizza. Yeah, that'd be good. Atsumu sat on Sakusa's couch, then opened his arms up, beckoning Sakusa to come closer. Get in here, big guy. Sakusa took his mask off and practically fell on top of Atsumu, letting the shorter boy wrap his arms around him. It was there again, that feeling. He felt like he was bursting at the seams with it, like he was drowning in it. Hey Tsumu. Atsumu didn't respond, and Sakusa noticed it was because he was sound asleep. His lips were lightly parted and his banshus swooped over his eyes. His arms were still wrapped around Sakusa though, seeming to have no intention of letting go. Sakusa pressed a kiss to Atsumu's temple before letting himself fall asleep too. Sakusa woke up to Atsumu awake and hovering over him, freezing when he saw that Sakusa was conscious. Ah, don't move. I've been balancing Skittles on your body for the past half hour. Sakusa opened his mouth to talk and heard the sound of several Skittles hitting the hardwood. You are so. So what? Sakusa didn't say anything, just sat up and watched all the Skittles fall on the floor. What time is it? 8 p.m. What do you wanna do? Atsumu thought for a moment. I honestly don't know, I'm just excited for Build-A-Bear tomorrow. I'm honestly okay with just sitting here and looking at each other. Atsumu rested his chin on his hands and his elbows on the couch, looking up at Sakusa with adoration. Sakusa flicked Atsumu's forehead and sucked his teeth. That's embarrassing. I could go for snacks, we never ordered pizza. There's a 7-Eleven a few blocks away. Let's go, let's go. On the way to the 7-Eleven, Atsumu slipped his hand into Sakusa's jacket pocket and grabbed his hand. Sakusa ducked his head as he flushed bright red. They'd been together almost 2 months and Sakusa still had a lot of trouble initiating contact. But sometimes, it felt like Atsumu could just tell when Sakusa wanted to be held, or hugged, or cuddled. It was borderline psychic. You know, for someone who hates germs so much you sure do like skinship. Shut up. Atsumu giggled. What if everyone knew you were just a big baby? Are you gonna tell them? It's my little secret. Unless you're like this around other people. Like what? Atsumu shrugged. I don't know. You don't know. You're just different when it's just us. You're more needy? Sakusa playfully scowled. I am not needy. If we lived in the same city and were able to see each other all the time maybe I wouldn't come off that way. I don't think so. I just think you like being held. Atsumu laughed. You're like a cat. You're all brooding and cold and pissy, but when you're around the right person you're just a little baby. Whatever. How've you been? Atsumu scrunched up his nose. That's a funny thing to ask. We talk every day. You know how I've been. Okay, well tell me more. Atsumu thought for a moment. Oh my god, I meant to tell you this. Okay, so the other day, I watched this video about this dude who did salvia. What's that? It's a drug but it's like, I don't know, it sounds absolutely horrible, he said. Atsumu laughed in the middle of his sentence, throwing his head back. Sakusa felt the low thrumming in his chest again, and it was getting harder to ignore. He said he became a garden hose on the side of a shed for 20 years. Bullshit. No, it's true, Omi. He felt like he was a hose on the side of shed, and he said he felt all 20 years like it was real time. That sounds like hell on earth. So I started reading trip stories on Reddit, and there seems to be a theme with people turning into inanimate objects. How do you even function after that? That's what I was thinking. It's like you've spent what felt like 5 years as a fence and suddenly you're not a fence anymore and you have to pay taxes? Sakusa laughed as they turned the corner and walked into the 7-Eleven. That sounds so fucked. People turn into carpets for what feels like an eternity and then have to start functioning normally again. I think I'd burst into tears. Do you forget that you're a person? Atsumu picked out 5 different flavors of Kit Kat, threw them into the basket, and nodded. Yeah, you can't remember any part of your life no matter what, you feel like you've always been that thing. Some dude said he was Beyoncé's birth certificate. Sakusa snorted, throwing more random snacks into the basket without really bothering to read them. I think I could handle being a fence for a few years. That made Sakusa take pause. What? That sounds sort of appealing, doesn't it? Sakusa gave Atsumu a weary look. What? Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Atsumu stood up straight and looked longingly into the distance. Oh, to be a fence. Oh, to be Beyoncé's birth certificate. Atsumu giggled. Oh, to be a letter on a box of cherries. What the fuck are taxes? What's a job? Shut up, I'm a hose. What did you just say? Using money to buy goods and services? Sorry, can't hear you over the sound of me being a plank of wood on my friend's deck. The two of them ended up doubled over in the connivance store, trying to sush each other. It turned into them shoving each other while trying to stop the other from laughing so hard. They weren't even saying words at this point. Incomprehensible sounds mixed with laughter coming out of their mouths. You're being loud. Then stop making me laugh. I'm not even saying anything, shut up. You're gonna get us kicked out. Me. Yes, you. Hurry up and buy this so we can leave. Why am I buying it? Atsumu rolled his eyes. Because I'm the guest, obviously. Yeah, okay. The cashier at the front gave them strange looks as he rang them up, both of them too busy pointing at random objects and giggling to notice. On the walk back, Atsumu pulled 4 more packs of Kit Kats and a pack of cigarettes out of his sweatshirt pocket. How do you always do that without me noticing? I'm smooth like that. There's more. Atsumu reached into his back pocket and pulled out a pack of Pocky, 2 packs of gum, and a lighter. Sticky fingers. It's the only thrill in my life, be less judgmental. Who are the cigs for? Atsumu sighs. Sooner. Sakusa wrinkles his nose. Gross. Yeah. There's a second of pause. Wanna try one? I like my lungs. I'm an athlete so they're pretty important. Atsumu hummed. My ex used to smoke, and I thought it made him look so cool. Obviously that was stupid, but, you know. And when you kissed it tasted like an ashtray. Atsumu shrugged, opening the pack and putting the unlit cigarette in his mouth. When you love someone, even their gross habits become sort of endearing. Like all his clothes smelled like cigarettes, but I started to like it. Gross, isn't it? Atsumu waved his hand dismissively. That's all in the past. Did you ever smoke one? Atsumu nodded. Yeah, tons of times. Samu found out and snitched to my parents though. Ironic. It is, isn't it? The conversation died down and Atsumu kept the unlit cigarette in his mouth as they walked. I feel like smoking it. Gross. Sakusa didn't say anything, just watched Atsumu light the cigarette and take a drag. He exhaled and looked at Sakusa apologetically. Old habits, sorry. Sakusa noted that Atsumu did actually look really cool with the cigarette between his fingers and the bright Tokyo lights dancing over his skin. Objectively, what Atsumu was doing was nasty, but the ache of his heart was saying different. Question. What is it? Atsumu leaned up and kissed Sakusa, parting both their lips briefly and swiping his tongue over Sakusa's. Atsumu pulled away and took another drag, raising an eyebrow. Do I taste like an ashtray? Sakusa's head was blank. He didn't think he'd ever get used to Atsumu's kisses. I don't remember. Atsumu giggled. You wanna try again? You're making fun of me. I'm not. You're not gonna smoke that whole pack, right? No. I don't get why you still smoke if you're not with him anymore. Don't they remind you of him? You know, if you had dated anyone before me you'd understand. Every person you love sort of, I guess. You could say they leave residue. Atsumu held up the half-smoked cigarette. This was his. Some are worse than others. I only smoke like 2 a month. It's still a bad habit. I know that, Omi. But it used to be worse. Sakusa stared at the contrast between the bleached stick and Atsumu's black nails in a sort of awe. He could watch Atsumu cut up a body and still be enamored. Could I try? Bad idea. I'm not gonna be that boyfriend to you. I'm not leaving you with any bad habits. Well, are you planning on leaving? No one ever plans to leave, Omi-kun. They just do. Sakusa looked down at his shoes as he walked. That's such an annoying way of thinking. That's such a Sakusa way of thinking. I've never been fatalistic about our relationship before. Or thought that it was inevitable that we'd break up. Really, never? Well, it's either we break up or we don't, so. No, I don't like to think about it. I'm a realist, but when it comes to us I sort of hope for the best. Well, I do too. I didn't mean it like that, Omi. I know. Are you mad? I'm not mad. Atsumu handed Sakusa the cigarette. Here, I'm not leaving you with any bad habits. But I really don't want to start any either. Take a hit and hate it. Sakusa took and inspected it, pulling down his mask and bringing it up to his lips. The sting is instant and Sakusa bashfully coughs up a lung. Fuck. It sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. Good, never do it again. Didn't plan on it. Atsumu sighed. You looked really hot smoking it, before you coughed like a cat hacking up a hairball. That was very unsexy. Sakusa handed it back to Atsumu, who took another drag, looking at Sakusa through his eyelashes. Bugs me you still think of him. Atsumu puts out the cigarette under his shoe and keeps walking. I'm sure I'll think of you much longer and more often. Omi-kun, this one looks like you, doesn't it? Atsumu held up a stuffed black bear with a goofy smile on his face. I think I'm gonna buy it and keep it in my room. Add it to my collection of stuffies. Sakusa took the stuffed animal and looked at it for a second. The frown and furrowed eyebrows on the animal mirrored Sakusa's own. I'll get it for you. No, you bought the rest of them. I don't mind. Atsumu considered for a moment. Okay, find one that looks like me and I'll buy it for you. I don't sleep with stuffed animals. You should start. You know, we don't see each other as often as I'd like. It'll be like I'm there with you. Atsumu gestured towards the rest of the stuffed bears in the Build-A-Bear workshop. So make one. He picked out a stuffed fox and played with the ear, a small smile behind his mask. This one looks like you. You think so? Sakusa held up the animal to Atsumu's face and giggled. It totally does. Atsumu smiled and started looking around at the clothes, pulling out a set of blue scrubs, mask included. It's so perfect. Do you like it? The words were tapping at the backs of Sakusa's teeth again. This time all Sakusa could do was look at Atsumu, who looked back with a massive smile on his face. At one point he was probably going to explode. He really felt so full of love for this boy. It probably wasn't healthy how much he adored him. He loved Atsumu so much it made him crazy. I love it. I think it's a good fit. Atsumu took Sakusa's hand and leaned against Sakusa's side. Here, pick one for mine. Sakusa searched through the racks, his eyes landing on a yellow raincoat. I like this one. Me too, it's really cute. Atsumu was looking at the raincoat while Sakusa's eyes were glued to the side of Atsumu's head. Yeah it is. Atsumu handed Sakusa a tiny heart. You have to kiss it to fill it with love, Omi. Sakusa took the heart from Atsumu and kissed his fingers, pressing it on the heart. There. Atsumu grinned. Okay, now we do a sound chip, so the stuffed animal says something when you squeeze it. Don't you think it'd be funny if we left messages without letting the other know what is was? And then we can squeeze it when we both get back home. Yeah, okay. And so Sakusa took the sound chip to the other side of the store, and whispered those 3 words into it. And once he started, words kept coming out like word vomit until his stomach was empty. He watched the heart, the sound chip, and a scent disc go into the bear as it was stuffed. He couldn't tell if his anxiety was getting better or worse. He hoped it wouldn't freak Atsumu out. He hoped Atsumu felt the same way. They said their goodbyes at the train station the next afternoon, Atsumu clutching his Build-A-Bear box to his chest as he kissed Sakusa goodbye. At home that night Sakusa held the fox in his hands and squeezed it, expecting a silly message. Hey Omi-kun, I just wanted you to know that I love you, so much, more than I've ever loved anything. That's it, I just love you, haha. Sakusa found himself squeezing the fox again, and again and again, until he got worried that it would die and he'd never be able to hear the message again. He wondered if Atsumu had squeezed his yet. Hate some, I love you a lot, you're really the best thing that's ever happened to me. That sounds dramatic, I mean it though, I really do love you to death.
Let's go. Yeah! A little vamping.
This is such a stupid idea, we are so stupid. Osamu grabbed Suna's thigh, holding it in place. Stay still or I'll mess up. We should have given this at least 24 sober hours of thought before going through with it. You think so? Well, I'm on the A, so if you want Osa on your hip for the next, how long do stick and pokes last? I don't even want to know. Osamu pulled out his phone and let out a sharp intake of breath. 5 to 10 years. Suna pushed the palms of his hands into his eyes, let out a strangled sob. 10 years. Or 5. You better hope it's 5. Osamu pouted. You were the one who suggested it. And I'm saying right now it's a stupid idea. It's not that stupid of an idea. We've been dating for 2 weeks. Osamu cups Suna's cheek and smiles softly. Even a second with you is worth a year. Suna's frown broke into a smile as he laughed, slapping Osamu's hand away. You're so stupid. Suna lied back down, covering his eyes with his arms. All right, continue. I do think it's kind of funny how we're getting matching tattoos that last longer than most relationships do. You better hope it only lasts 5 years. You think we'll break up before it fades? Osamu dips the needle back into the ink, applying pressure to Suna's skin. Suna hisses. I mean, probably. Way to have faith in us. I think it might be like a divorce where they only stay married for the kids. And we stay together because of the tattoos. Exactly. Suna flinches as the needle meets his hip bone again. We haven't even said I love you yet. That made Osamu take pause. He looked at the 4 letters inked into his boyfriend's skin and thought for a moment. Do you think it's too early to say it? Objectively, yes. Suna moved his arms away and raised his eyebrow. But for the next 10 years every time I get changed and look down I'll be reminded of you, so this is as close to an I love you as you're ever getting from me. You literally were complaining about how stupid it was not even 5 minutes ago. I tell you I love you and this is your response? It was hardly an I love you. Suna shrugged. Take it or leave it. I'll take it. Can I add a little onigiri at the end of my name? Go crazy. After Osamu finished, he signed his work with a chaste kiss to Suna's hip. I love you too, by the way. Suna pulled his shirt down and gave Osamu a dirty look that didn't hide his red face very well. Yeah, whatever, save it. They both stood in front of Osamu's bathroom mirror, lifting their shirts up and looking at the matching tattoos on their hips. Even though the Suna right by Osamu's V-line still stung, he couldn't help but grin widely. You're right, this was stupid. Suna shrugged, a smile on his face. I think they're kinda badass. 4 years and 364 days until we can break up. Let's make the most of it then.